Welcome back. I'm Chris McLeod with Edmonton Global. We're here at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention, and we're sitting inside the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub booth. We've got a whole bunch of kids that are just finishing checking out our exhibit. We had probably 30 or 40 kids that just came through with their school, and I really wish that's something I'd gotten a chance to do when I was. Looks like they're probably in junior high or maybe grade 10. Yeah, it's just really cool that there's these kinds of field trips checking out the future energy systems. And speaking of future energy systems, our next segment here is with Dr. Amit Kumar, who is the Deputy Director of Future Energy Systems at the University of Alberta. Amit, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, there is so much happening at the University of Alberta. An unbelievable amount actually happening there. Can you talk, maybe before we get into hydrogen, can you just give me a little bit of a sense of the U of A?
So if you think about U of A is one of the top energy research institute in the world. We have 41,000 students that we train. We have 500 different graduate programs, 200 different undergraduate programs. And there has been a lot of focus on energy research and clean energy research. And, we have been working on all the different types of energy that you can think about. So renewable energy starting from solar, wind, geothermal, biomass energy systems. We look at conventional, the whole oil sands industry that you see here was built because of the research from University of Alberta.
Yeah.
And the University of Alberta has contributed significantly over the decades in building that large industry today.
It's you just mentioned that U of A is one of the top research institutions in the world. And actually, I think only 2 or 3 days ago, the new rankings came out, and they're in the top, I think 77 roughly is where they are. But that's, overall. When you look at things like artificial intelligence, they're number 2 in the world. I think nursing, they're number 1. Pharmaceuticals are in the top 25 or so. You go on and on and on, and there are areas that this province and the University of Alberta, which is located here, right in the heart of Edmonton, there's just so many fields that we're in the top of the world. And so in the area that you're in, how does your research and things kind of, I know you're doing some amazing things. Can you give us a sense of kind of where that's at?
My research area is predominantly working on clean energy and energy systems assessment.
Yeah.
When I joined way back in 2005, at that time, energy systems as a concept was still pretty, nascent. It was not mature. People were not talking a lot about energy systems. It was mostly energy that we use.
Yeah. Well, I know what energy is. I'm not so sure I know what an energy system is.
Exactly. And so then the slowly concept, when we started doing this, we looked at the whole energy pathways as a system in terms of all the way from production, extraction, production, conversion, transportation, and utilization of energy. And that's what we bring in. We look at different pathways of producing clean energy, renewable energy, and we try to assess the environmental and the economic impact of these different pathways. And this helps, the type of information that we develop helps the government in developing policies and investment decisions. And that's what we have been doing now over decades.
Wow.
And that kind of concept now, it is a pleasure to see now that there is a lot of interest in this area and a lot of work in this area and realizing the importance of this area.
Yeah. And this whole show that we're here with is really about, connecting the research with innovation and now moving into the real world application. Can you give some examples of either projects you've worked on or collaborations that just help make that last answer? Like, can you connect it to here's an example?
And the most recent example I would give, for example, the hydrogen roadmap that Alberta government developed. We have been working on hydrogen for about over a decade, and it was predominantly focused on how do we reduce the carbon intensity of hydrogen that we produce. A decade ago, we looked at underground coal gasification and unminable coal. How do you take that out, produce hydrogen from the syngas, and then capture carbon out of that? And that has translated into a lot of work in looking at different types of production systems, assessing their environmental footprint. What we bring in is a lot of work that we do is in terms of developing fundamental engineering science-based model. And these models are pretty complex models. We talked about hydrogen production, but it doesn't stop there. if you have to look at the overall impact of hydrogen production, so conversion process is in middle of the chain. You start all the way from extraction.
Yeah.
And the moment you start producing more hydrogen, you need more resources. More resources, that means more input energy which is required. So it's a pretty complex system. And so we have been working in that domain. And that led to a lot of information that Alberta specific information that we have developed. And then we did a lot of modeling under the Alberta Hydrogen Roadmap. And for Alberta Hydrogen Roadmap, we ran more than 300 different scenarios to understand what is the impact of implementing a particular source of producing hydrogen all the way from producing, transporting, conversion, and then taking it to the demand sector where you utilize it in a different sectors. So we looked at detailed residential commercial sector, oil sands sector, industrial sector, and transportation sector. So the Alberta Hydrogen Roadmap was a kind of, I would say, how you utilize the knowledge that we created over a decade and for policy formulation. And that's a key example. There are other examples where we have been developing, and the researchers at university are developing technologies for producing hydrogen through solar splitting, pyrolysis of natural gas. And you see that those technologies are still at nascent stage, but those once become commercial and move up the scale will have a big contribution for Alberta.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. The hydrogen roadmap is fairly new. It hasn't been around all that long, but just having a really clear federal program of what's going to happen, having a really clear provincial, roadmap for what's going to happen. Even within the hydrogen hub, we've got a base case that we're now expanding out. It really helps. I think at least it really helps industries know that there's predictability, there's transparency, and that there's a commitment from all the levels of government to actually drive this major change and transition from other sources of energy into hydrogen and many others that are more clean and renewable.
Yes, and I think for Alberta, I mean, if you think about the advantage from my perspective, if you are trying to produce energy and a renewable source, a new energy source, let's say, you need the resources to produce it, you need the expertise to produce it, you need the workforce and the infrastructure to produce it. We have been producing hydrogen for decades for our oil and gas industry. Large amount of hydrogen and at a scale. And what we are now, we have the capability in terms of producing large scale hydrogen. If you look at low carbon intensity hydrogen, we are one of the, I would say, leading jurisdiction in carbon capture and storage. Mm-hmm. And if you marry those two, you will see that we produce low carbon intensity hydrogen. And we have a trained workforce and large resources. Infrastructure in terms of capturing carbon, transporting carbon, we have those pipelines laid already. So if you think about the different ingredients to make a jurisdiction kind of, I would call it a superpower in hydrogen, that is already there. And Alberta has the opportunity to do that.
Well, we've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of days. Just spoke with Air Products. We've had conversations with David Lizelle with the Transition Accelerator, Mark Plamondon with Alberta's Industrial Heartland. And I think you're right. It's this mix of huge stores of things like natural gas. I think we have the world's third largest reserve, mixed with this carbon sequestration ability that is probably in the top 2 in the world. Those two together is a big part of that secret sauce, but it's the people, it's the infrastructure, it's what we've kind of done with it. And it's not that we're starting from scratch. We've been doing this work, as you said, for decades, probably at least 40 years. Yeah. So if there's a company, and again, we have a number of people watching from around the world, if there's a company who's interested in getting involved, are you actually doing work right with industry, or is it more of the roadmaps and kind of government work?
We do a lot of work with the industry. In fact, some of the work that I started in the hydrogen was through support from industry. Oh, wow. I mean, I lead a chair program, Energy and Environmental Systems Engineering, and this is funded by the federal government, but it's a consortium of different stakeholders. So you have federal government part of it, large industry part of it, Cenovus and Suncor. We have Environment Canada, Natural Resources Canada part of it. So it's a whole consortium of different stakeholders who are part of it. And the type of questions that we ask is, again, these transformative questions is, what kind of energy pathways are more economically viable, environmentally friendly, socially acceptable? The bigger question that we try to answer. So and in fact, at the researchers at University of Alberta, a lot of these programs are industry-funded programs. University of Alberta is one of the universities where we have the largest number of NSERC industrial research chair in the country, and which are predominantly driven by support from the industry. So a lot of work based on industry.
Oh, that sounds great. And it's good to know then, one of the things we've been talking about, with the work through Edmonton Global, is we really want to build this into a global epicenter for the hydrogen economy here within the Edmonton region. And it's then about production, which again we've got in spades, demand, which you're working on, many others are working on. And I really like that you're also talking about the innovation play, because there's so much potential here in that innovation space. So I just wonder, can you talk about maybe what's coming next in terms of research or application, or the ability for companies to come in and do R&D work in this space?
And so a lot of work that currently you see in a lot of new technologies which people are working on. One of the challenges that you see, even for now, for natural gas, so SMR is commercial. But you can capture 52%, you can go all the way to 85% carbon. But then what is next? If you look at newer technologies which are coming in autothermal reforming, where you can go up to 90%, 95% carbon capture. And then you have technologies like natural gas pyrolysis. So we have people who are working in these forefront, where you try to capture maximum amount of carbon. We have folks who are working on renewable-based hydrogen. So a lot of, the transition, the energy transition will happen from renewable, low carbon hydrogen to renewable hydrogen. And that will happen with bringing the cost down for the renewable or green hydrogen, we say.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of work in terms of trying to look at different types of hydrogen production from renewable sources. I personally work a lot on the biomass-based hydrogen system, where we try to look at using these wood residues, or we look at agricultural residues, try to produce hydrogen through thermochemical reforming technologies. So a lot of technologies are being developed which are focused on transitioning these fossil-based industry to the renewable-based industry. And I think the key for renewable hydrogen today is high cost.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges is to bring that down. And there is a lot of focus in moving the technology from the lab to the demonstration and commercial scale. So the researchers are working at different points in this innovation space.
Fantastic. I heard on the local news today, one of the researchers at the U of A has a new process that at the end of basically a fracking methane, that black carbon is created, which is a pretty highly valuable piece. Are you connected at all with the research happening there?
Yeah, so in fact, when we looked at the different technologies, so if you think about natural gas even, you can take natural gas to hydrogen through different pathways. The most commercial one that we use, the most mature one, steam methane reforming.
Right.
The newer one, which is closer to commercialization, we think autothermal reforming. But you have natural gas pyrolysis or depolymerization that we talk about, where you produce solid carbon. That solid carbon has value. So you're not producing gas. That solid carbon could be used for example, batteries. In the batteries, it could be used for remediation. So a lot of different use for solid carbon. And so there are, we put a lot of effort in assessing these technologies, developing the fundamental engineering-based models to assess these technologies, understand the environmental footprint, economic footprint, and that's where we are contributing to these.
Fascinating. And again, just stellar work from you and all of your colleagues. It really is world-leading research. I want to shift gears a little bit. So you've been part of the technical delegation and technical conference that's happening here. And, pretty much everything here is sold out. So the strategic conference sold out. The technical conference, it's pretty small. We only have 250 tickets to it. Next year we're going to have way more, because there's people lined up out the door to try to get in. Can you give us a sense of what's happening in those conferences and kind of what your experience so far on that technical stream has been?
Yeah, and I think these technical sessions have been very engaging. I was chairing one of the sessions yesterday on production side, and there were speakers who were talking about producing hydrogen from different sources. But the audience was very engaging. It's as if like you're having a discussion back and forth. There is a lot of presentations which are on different aspects of hydrogen production, transportation, utilization, carbon capture and storage. And my sense is the way we are going and as Alberta further works more towards developing a large scale hydrogen economy, you will see there is more and more people coming next year and the following year with a lot of interest in the way we are approaching hydrogen and working towards becoming a leader. The recent announcement, Center of Excellence on Hydrogen, another key piece. I think that this is a kind of an umbrella under which the different stakeholders could come in. You can private industry, government, academia, public, and then help in developing this economy further.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thanks so much. And your comment about it's only going to get bigger. Our goal is to build this into the world's largest hydrogen conference. It's already the largest in North America, and we've got at least a 10-year runway. And today we've got around 3,000 to 4,000 people here. We're hoping within 5 years we've got 40 to 50,000 people attending, and that just keeps on growing. So again, Amit, thanks so much for the conversation. Thanks for all the work that you're doing at the U of A. And I think next I'm going to do a little walk over to Invest in Canada. So again, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure.
So we're going to do a quick little walk. I'm going to... There we go. Now I'm switching mics. So we're going to do a little walk over to Invest in Canada. Again, the exhibit floor we have here is pretty large. And so we were one of the first, again, because we helped plan this, we were one of the first organizations to book a space. So we've got some pretty prime real estate. And around us, yesterday you met with Explore Edmonton, who's right beside us. The Nikola truck, the hydrogen truck that came up from California, is also beside us. We've got the province of Alberta on one side. And then on the other here, we've got our friends at Invest in Canada. Oh, excuse me. Katie, nice to see you.
Hi, Chris. Good to see you.
Oh, let me just drop my mask on.
Oh,
so
yes.
This is Katie Curran, who's the acting CEO for Invest in Canada.
Hi. So good to see you. Excited to be here.
Nice to see you too.
Yes.
So Invest in Canada, you've
Yes.
got a huge footprint.
Yes. A lot of real estate right here.
A lot of real estate.
Yeah.
And really, you're kind of in the center of all the action.
Absolutely. Like we like to be.
Yeah, exactly. You're right beside us. You're right by the province. But you really are very much in the middle of all of this flow. How busy has the show been for you so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. You can feel the excitement. We've had a steady stream of all sorts of companies and partners come by. It's been really fantastic for us. It's nice to be back out.
It is.
In person, in these live events again.
Yeah, totally. Would you be able to give us a quick tour?
Absolutely. Let's go in.
So we're going to let the camera slide ahead of us.
For sure.
So what day did the team come in to start setting up?
They came in earlier this week. They came in around Monday, but this booth, we're really proud of it, and we're going to replicate this going forward. But it really gives that space for some close, client interactions here. We've got another private space around the corner as well. And then, of course, our main booth where people can come watch our fantastic videos.
Love the videos.
We love the videos. Yeah, I think that's been a really great feature for us, is being able to play some of our marketing material there.
Well, from a marketing perspective, you guys are 100% on
yes.
brand.
Yes.
Love just how much the red pops off this black.
Yes.
The great wood floors. It is really a beautiful booth.
Absolutely. We need to bring in elements. Of course, we have the natural resources. That is just Canada's brand. But when you compare it to then the hydrogen and the new exciting things that we have going on in Canada, I think that pairs really nicely together.
Absolutely. We're both in the business of basically selling the country. And,
absolutely.
From Edmonton Global, nobody knows who Edmonton is. Right? When you look out in the world. So we always start with Canada.
Yes.
So the work that your team is doing
Yeah.
to build this international brand around
Yeah.
investing in Canada
Yeah.
is helping every single community
Excellent.
across the whole country.
Excellent. We really like to hear that. I think Canada's brand is very powerful in the world, but we need to make it even more powerful in the business community. They need to
Yep.
think of Canada as the top investment destination. And I think we've made some inroads there. We've got still some more work to do, but very happy that our partners and we can work collaboratively with everybody to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've been very active in other parts of the world.
Yes.
I was in Dubai recently.
Yes.
The Canada Pavilion at Expo was
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
There's lots of work happening around the world.
Yeah.
Can you give us just a bit of a taste of some of the things you've been part of?
For sure. So we're really excited. We've done Expo Dubai, which was a
Yeah.
huge, massive success for us. We also are looking forward to two big things that are happening in Toronto at the end of June. We have PDAC and we have Collision, which
Yeah.
is really exciting.
We're there at Collision.
Excellent. Yeah, I think those are really big events for us. It's within Canada, but it draws such a big international
Yeah.
audience. Big investors are coming. Foreign companies are coming. So I think that'll be really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know for us, we've talked a little bit about the goals of this conference.
Yes.
And we're so thrilled that you're here for year one.
Yes.
We've got a 10-year runway on this, a 10-year
Yes.
deal with DMG. Already, this is the largest hydrogen conference in North America. We want this, and
Yeah.
it's going to be the largest hydrogen conference in the world.
Yeah.
We think within 5 years, probably 40 to 50,000 people is what we're aiming at. Can you just speak a little bit about Invest in Canada's commitment to hydrogen, and not just here, there's hydrogen plays across the country.
Absolutely. Hydrogen, of course, is a Government of Canada priority, and we see it as a massive investment opportunity for Canada. It helps all sorts of goals in terms of carbon reduction and getting to net zero, but it's really a new industry for Canada that I think has fantastic growth.
Yeah.
So we want to be, as Invest in Canada, we want to be at the foreground, so we want to be at these events, and we want to make a name for ourselves about hydrogen.
Love it. And we're 100% there with you.
Excellent.
Okay, I think that's probably it. We've got some
Excellent.
more shows back at our stage.
Sounds
but just
good.
again, want to say thanks so much for being
thank
here. Love what you guys are doing.
Excellent.
And let's go Canada.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.